Okay, we're looking at a chart of a daily chart of the Russell 2000 index. This index obviously has a lot of 17% of the index components are the regional banks. I'll get to that in a little bit, but you can see that, with the Silicon Valley news, it's sold off pretty hard and has been kind of a laggard. Yeah, this is not good. And then it kind of it made a bottom, retested, and now it's been moving up. Obviously, the indexes are rallying, but this one has had a nice sharp rally here recently in the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 sessions, last couple of weeks. And I showed you a comparison chart this morning for those of you who belong to MC stock charts on how it compares with the other indexes. And it is not a leader, but recently, it has been performing better. And I'm going to get to that, the reason why those, the regional banks. But this index, is perceived as a higher risk index because the stocks are smaller and involve more risk. So this is a bullish sign overall for, the markets, is that, the Nasdaq has been the leading, and all the stocks there that are the Microsoft, the Apple, the Meta, and the Tesla and NVIDIA that are driving it higher. But now, if money rotates to smaller stocks, this is healthy. It's just another type of rotation instead of a sector rotation, going from large cap to small caps, and not even from large caps, because the large caps are still doing well. It's just that now the smaller caps are doing better. That's all I wanted to point out. That's the only point I was trying to make there with the Russell. This is the Nasdaq. This is where most of my money's made, in stocks that are traded on the Nasdaq. You can see it's in a strong power trend here, and I got to go to the weekly here because I want to make a point of reference here, is that I've been talking about this for a little while. This 646 here. I think the index wants to trade up to this level here before maybe pulling back, but it's not far away. It's 353 to 646, so it's less than 300 points away. I mean, it could do that in a day or two. So anyway, the Nasdaq making new highs, higher lows, and not all-time highs, just higher highs from previous highs. The all-time high is 16,212, which we know was made on November 21st, 2021. So we will keep that in mind too, but one day at a time, okay, folks? The Nasdaq's performing well. It's the leading index, make no mistake about it. And I'm going to get to a couple of stocks here. We don't trade indexes, we trade stocks. At least I do. And of course, my disclaimer is we're all adults here, and you have your mouse. You can click it and buy and sell whenever you want. That's none of my business. But Microsoft here is one that somebody's buying. As you can see, it's not Aunt Sally. This big volume bars here indicate institutional footprints here, and you can see it traded down to its moving average here recently and popped, came back to its 10, and then today went up on AI related news. These guys said they were going to have 500 billion in revenue by 2030. So due to AI, so AI is a real thing, and it's leading this this new, I shouldn't say bull market, but this uptrend. Okay, the uptrend, and this earnings season is going to be really interesting to see how much money is being spent on AI. So I'll be really interested to hear. Here's NVIDIA, and you talk about institutional footprints. You can see this right here. If I go to the weekly, it's been trading up almost every week. These big blue volume bars, just a couple of down weeks in the last few months. So NVIDIA is definitely a leading stock, being supported by its moving averages, trading higher. And on Friday, it made this high of I want to say 88. It was a 488, 480, and it approached that today at 78. Came a buck away. So for me, I mean, there's nothing to do here. I'm not adding to it. I'm not subtracting. I'm just holding it and just watching it. That's all. Another leading stock. This is my largest holding here. This is SMCI. NVIDIA is my second largest holding, and this is a rare stock, and this is why I study history, is because there have been stocks that have looked like this before, and so if I study history, I can know what to expect. This is a high tide flag, which is pretty rare. And we can look back in history at prior high tide flags that look like this and kind of, see what they did. And it gives us some idea of what to expect going forward. Now, I had some people tell me that this is the climax top. It went from 93 to 270 and you got to get rid of it. You got to sell it. And they look like geniuses when it pulled back here to 213, but it just pulled back to its 21. And then now look, went from 213 to 318 in a hurry. So don't give up on this. This is, like I say, it's a rare bird. Historically, I would say that I said the other day that I think it's going higher, and somebody said how high. I don't know. Nobody knows. We're just gonna have to watch it, right? This is not a climax top though. But like I say, historically, this is a very rare stock, and you could see the pole here and the flag, and now it's just emerging out of this area. I wouldn't call it a base, but it's merging out of that area. And yeah, you're paying up for SMCI now. It's a 16 billion market cap stock. Is trading now with three times sales instead of one. But I got to tell you that it does pull back like this. It's had these little pullbacks every now and again. So the next time it does something like that, try not to call it top and maybe pick something up. I thought I was going to have trouble with 300. Now it's 318. So shows you what I know. It's just a strong stock, and it's going to go do whatever it wants to do. And I'm just going to watch it. I actually added to it today. Not a real smart move, but I had some extra cash, and so I'm adding to my largest holding. I said there's nothing to do, but I just had some extra cash, and I'll get to that a little later. So I did buy a little bit of SMCI today. All right, what is it? Bill O'Neill, who said, if you want to, who do you want in the ball game? And I was thinking about this when I bought it today. Who do you want in the ball game when the game's on the line, the ninth inning, the bases loaded, 2 outs, tie game? Do you want your 200 hitter up in the batter's box, or do you want your 350 hitter? Well, I want my 350 hitter, and this is SMCI is my 400 hitter right now. So this is the one that I want in the batter's box with the game on the line. So how about that? To steal an analogy from the great William O'Neill. All right, I want to get to a couple of other stocks within the semiconductors. I'm going to count Supermicro in the semiconductors. I said you got to have a micro. You got Microsoft, you got MicroStrategy, you got Microchip, and we have Supermicro. And this one has been on our watch list, and it's starting to push away from its space now. And I think I had the buy point. I got to look at my notes here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's extended from a base. It's trading well. If you're with me and you had this earlier, we had an earlier buy point on it. It's a little bit extended, but I just wanted to point out that semiconductors are doing well. That's one of them. On semiconductors, another one. Gosh, we had it way back at 70 something, and now it's like 104. So congrats to the longs there. That one looks really strong. So the semiconductors, it's really nice to have a uptrend with the semiconductors leading. I'm going to get to the banks. The banks reported today, and they stole some of the thunder. You can see this is Morgan Stanley. Nice response to their earnings report. Bank of America, again, nice response to their earnings report. They're below the 200, though. I'm not interested in, but just acknowledging that a rotation into the banks, and that's fine. I did mention the Russell earlier, and the reason why the Russell is ramping is that some of these bank stocks are starting to act a little better here. This is PACW up 8.5%. UBSI, another less than 5 billion. What is it? 430 million. What is it? No, it's 4.3 billion market cap. And this one starts ramping here. Made a low a couple weeks ago at 27.69, and now it's ramping up to 31. So this has had a nice couple of weeks action there. And this is Western Alliance, and this one's starting to perform a little better here. It was down at 11 in the spring, and now it's up to 43. So that's a nice move. And that's part of the reason, the financial institutions are a big component. The regional institutions are a big component, about 17% of the Russell 2000. And that's why it's acting better. I'm going to get to the home builders, starting with Builder. I know they don't build homes, but they're in the sector. And this one is just a monster, just surfing its moving averages. Kelly Slater stock just hanging 10. Nothing to do here. You could trade around the core position, scale in, scale out. But this thing is showing a lot of strength. And for me, there's nothing to do there. It's just performing really well. DR Horton, this is one of the home builder stocks that I like because it's the largest home builder at 43 billion with nearly 3 million in of trading volume daily. So this one's just hanging. Made this nice move last week, pulled back a couple days this week. Not a big deal. We saw that when July started. They pulled back here for a couple of days, and Pulte Home is doing the same thing. They're kind of trading together here. This one made this nice run. Now the last couple of days just kind of trading sideways. This is another home builder with 18 billion market cap and 2.7 million shares traded. Lennar is another larger one, 38 billion market cap, 2.4 million shares per day, and it looks a lot like DR Horton and Pulte. They kind of trade in a group. Just made this run last week and the last two sessions, just allowing the moving averages to catch up. And then Taylor Morrison is another one, and this one doesn't want to pull back. This one's just going higher. Made a new high today, and it was up 2 cents. But they do trade as a group, and the home builders are strong. So we got the semi strong, we got the bank strong, we got the just a lot semis, banks, home builders. Everywhere you look, it seems like there's strength. It's just what do you want? And in retail, there's hit and miss, pockets of strength. And this is Elf Beauty. This is one of my favorite retail stocks. You can see it. People, they say, where can I buy this? It doesn't form a base, and it has not formed a base here since last summer. So all you can do is wait for a pullback to the 50. And this is. Talk about a Kelly Slater stock. This one's just surfing its moving averages. Pull back to the 51 time, this year. So yeah, pretty tough to buy. Just get in and hang on for the ride. That one is just surfing the moving averages to higher prices. And I own it's one of my larger holdings, and I just I'm not doing anything with it. I haven't bought or sold for a long time, just holding it. Another one that I want to take a look at is Celsius, because this thing, I sold half of it today. This is not looking good to me with the market rallying and the Nasdaq and a big uptrend. This thing slicing its 21 moving average on above average volume. I just do not like that. I just had a little extra. I sold that and then bought some SMCI because I want my 400 hitter in the batter's box and not this thing. It's just lagging, and I might sell it all tomorrow. I just do not like stocks that behave this way in an uptrend. Why should we have this? I got it at a lower price, but you can see on the weekly here, it looks like it's doing nothing, right? But still, I want performance, and this is not performing, so that's why I sold it and bought SMCI. I do want to talk about a couple other retail restaurants. I know I'm rambling on today, but Chipotle Mexican Grill gonna enter into the Middle East. And had an upgrade, and it made a new high today. So yeah, some people were saying this thing needs a 10-for-1 stock split. It would still be $215, for the retail folks to get in. It is, this is why people play with options. Just buy the options. Even they're expensive, but not $2,000 a share expensive. And then Texas Roadhouse. Made a new high today, but this one to me is still setting up in a base. We had it at like 112 early entry buy point, but now I believe the standard buy point here is 116. So Texas Roadhouse looks good. So there's just a lot of stocks, a lot of areas that are looking strong. And I'm not going to get out of retail without looking at CROX. This one's looking good to me. I had this. Well, first of all, I think it needs to pull back a little bit to a moving average here, either the 10 or the 21. They report earnings on the 27th. So that's next Thursday morning. But I like that above the 122 area is a point of interest for me. And anyway, so that's it for CROX. We'll see. They have to report strong earnings or they'll get sold off. Okay, I'm going to go to the software names. I forget if I mentioned Microsoft, but MongoDB making a new high today. I'm going to rip through a bunch of them. Not going to really comment too much on them. Monday, this one was on our watch list here a lot earlier, but it's now extended away from its base here at 186 and change. Datadog, God, we had this one for weeks. We had a lot of different buy points on this one. And finally, if you got to look at the weekly here, I know it's a daily review, but to me, this is still actionable. Even I'd say below 120, it's not really chasing. If you look at the weekly, yeah, on the daily it's extended, but yeah, Datadog looks really good to me. Net is another one that we've had on our watch list this week, and I like it just right there above 72. I know it seems a little elementary, but these things are coming out of stage one basis. They sold off for nearly 2 years, and so there's of course the other side is the overhead supply, but I don't really consider overhead supply after a year. I mean, in this day and age, even 6 months is a long-term hold for most people. So I don't think people are looking to get rid of Cloudflare. If this thing breaks out to new ground, 772 or 72.41, I think it could make a 10 or 20% move higher. Palantir, this is one that I bought yesterday, I believe. Yeah, because I like the trade above 17 and even 17.16 here. It's a little large and liquid. It's got a lot of shares outstanding, but anyway, Palantir is going to take advantage of AI. I did mention Microsoft, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 500 billion in revenue. And so that's it for today, except for I have one more thing in honor of the great Steve Jobs. A couple of people asked me about some speculative plays, and this is one that I speculated on. It was one of my stocks that I selected for 2023 is just, one of my top 10 speculative stocks to look at. And this one's been performing better. It sold off earlier, and now, it had a buy point there at 15.48. But certainly now at 22 and performing well, and it should be. I mean, the market's in an uptrend. Stocks should be going higher, and this one certainly is. IONQ is the other one that I like because it's in the same group as help me out here, SMCI, and this one's been performing well, and it's quite a bit of volume. So I just those are my speculative plays right now. So you asked, I told you, and we never give up.